while Misha can be anchoring in this bush, aggressive in this bush, defensive in this bush, or on the point capping.
Does tilt at its core?
5v4, what if I just flanked and hit a God Mosh?
So I go body check, I go Indomitable, which is my unstoppable, I go into the fray, which is my save for allied heroes, I go
Hello and welcome everybody to the 4th CCS Masterclass. I'm your host Salvaje, and I am here with a very well-known free agent in the Heroes Heart CCL, Epicplayer. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Awesome.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to have you. And before we jump into the topic that we have for tonight, I just wanted to ask for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your history with Heroes of the Storm, especially being a long-time community member, and just let us know a little bit about who you are. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'm Epicplayer. I've been playing Heroes of the Storm since the alpha. I didn't really get too much into the competitive scene until like mid-late 2018. RIP HGC, unlucky. But yeah, I was a student athlete in college, and then I had to quit sports, so I decided to start playing Heroes of the Storm a lot. And then so that happened in mid 2018, and that was the first time I hit Grandmaster. And ever since then, I've been able to hit GM pretty much every season that I've played. And I've been just playing in amateur stuff ever since then. And here we are today, and I'm just trying to uh, play in CCL if I ever get the chance.
For sure. I've been seeing your name literally everywhere. You just got to keep trying and trying and trying, and someday the opportunity is definitely going to come as long as you just make sure your name's always out there. For tonight, so we are going to be talking about identifying your win condition with Epicplayer. And we can just go ahead and jump right in. You have some clips to show us with Heroes Heart CCL, so we can go ahead and dive into that.
Yeah, so I basically just tried to go through the games and just pick one game from each of the series from week one to talk about, how you should be identifying your win condition and like talking about how well or how poorly some of the teams play around that win condition. And so is my screen up on there yet or no?
I think we're still waiting on it. All right, so
Yeah.
it is up there now for everyone to see.
Okay, yeah, so this was the first game between Onyx and Simplicity. And so I wanted to start here with the draft because a lot of the time you're going to be forming what your win condition is around like you should have some type of pre-planned idea around what your win condition should be. So maybe you're planning on doing a macro comp, maybe you're planning on doing just like a death ball 5v5 team fight comp. Maybe you're looking for a single target blow up. And so you should have some type of idea of what you want going into each game, but you should also be able to adjust what you end up based on, how the draft is going, what your opponent's picking, what they're banning, and things like that. So this is the first game. Oh, let me mute that. Okay, there we go. All right, so Simplicity opens with a first pick Brightwing, which is really flexible. It can kind of flex into basically a bunch of different team comps. And Onyx responds with the Hogger Kharazim, which is interesting because Kharazim tells a lot about what your win condition is going to be. So when you identify your win condition, you want to think, what are the heroes on your team good at and what are they bad at? So Kharazim's really bad at sustained fighting, but he's really good with either a dive comp, some type of macro comp where you run around and hit buildings because his damage is so high, or a single target blow up with something like a Garrosh taunt into a 7-sided strike. So right off the bat with that kerosene pick, Simplicity can adjust their drafts to do something that can counter one of those three options that kerosene provides. So something that can counter like a macro comp, something that can counter a dive comp, or something that can counter a single target blow up comp. And Brightwing, which they have already, does a really good against a lot of those things. Brightwing has the global to help with the push the macro pressure. The Brightwings is really good at saving people with a single target blow up, and you know, the Poly and Harry are really pretty good against dive. And they end up going with Cassia and May. Again, Cassia and May um, are both good against things like that. May with her blinds and her slows and stuff, and Cassia with the blinds. So it's really good against dive, and they can also push if Onyx tries to go for that macro route. The only thing it's kind of weak against is again that single target blow up, which is what Onyx ends up going into
Mm-hmm.
with the Varian and the Chromie. So how do you play against a single target blow up comp? You either want to run them around the map with macro and don't fight them, or you want to draft a really good just 5v5 team comp. It's like, it doesn't matter if they try and get a blow up, because even if they get that blow up, they'll lose the fight anyway. And Simplicity kind of does both. They go with Dahaka and Greymane, so they're really good at macro, but they can also have a really strong 5v5 team fight. Or they can even like use the Dahaka global to get a 4v5. And so I just want to talk about so actually let's look at Onyx's last pick first. So they went with the Phoenix. So in my opinion, Simplicity won this draft because their win condition is really good into Onyx's win condition. So Onyx's win condition is only to blow up off of Variant Taunt. They really don't have any other win condition, in my opinion. Whereas Simplicity, they can play macro really well with their double global, and they can also team fight really well by again using that global. And also, if they just take a straight up 5v5, I think their team comp is a lot stronger. So what are things Onyx could have done better? I think one, if their plan going into this was, hey, we're gonna draft a single target blow up comp, I would have liked them to hold on that kerosene pick because it reveals too much of their draft too early. I don't think you're really ever worried about, oh, I think the other team's gonna ban kerosene. You know, I think they could have drafted something like the Chromie first, because Chromie's a lot more flexible. You don't look at a Hogger Chromie in year 1-2 and think, oh, the enemy's gonna draft a variant and try and blow us up. You know, it's a possibility, but it's not like your first instinct. So I think drafting the kerosene really revealed a little too much about their draft. And the second thing I think that Onyx could have done better was, instead of Phoenix, drafting Falstad. So I think the Phoenix is a really weird pick, because it does play that mid to top or bottom rotation really well and can skirmish. But Onyx's comp isn't looking to skirmish. They're looking to blow up off Variant Taunt. And I think Falstad does have good enough single target burst along with the Chromie, but it also has a global, which can help to mitigate the macro pressure that Simplicity is going to be putting on them. So if we go into the game, I think on a 31-50. Oh wait, no. 36. No, that's wrong too.
Okay,
I didn't prepare him a whole
no,
lot, so
that's
it's a
totally
little
fine.
stuffed.
while you're searching for that, I do have a question real fast. So we are talking about the win condition beginning at the draft. So considering how you see the two drafts, in your opinion, how would Onyx adjust their win condition to not purely be just blow up one person? How could they, in your
They
opinion, how could they adjust it to provide a different win condition for their draft?
um with the draft they currently have, in my opinion, they can't. They
Mhm.
once their draft is too hard to committed to single target, we need to blow someone up and then do something with it. Like if you look at their heroes, like they can't like win a sustained fight. They don't have macro pressure. There's a lot of things that their comp is missing that prevents them from transitioning to a different win condition. And even though I was giving Onyx a hard time, they played to their win condition really well, which is something that I do want to talk about because a lot of teams they'll look at two drafts and say, oh, one draft is clearly better than the other, that team should win. But
Mhm.
if you still play to your win condition, you're still gonna give yourself a really good chance at winning. Um,
Okay.
and one thing I want to point out is, so Simplicity, a lot of times they have to play really scared on the map. And that's because they don't know where Valimar and Bad Benny, the Varian and the Karazim, are on the map. One of the things that Bad Benny does really well is play out of vision a lot. If you don't know where that Varian is, then you don't know where you're safe to be, And so I just want to again commend Bad Benny, for playing around this really well and playing out of vision because it makes Simplicity have to play a lot more scared or they will die a lot more. And so the first clip I wanted to show was here at 40 minutes. So as you can see, Bad Benny is playing out of vision and they get the pick onto Legacy, which is it's pretty good. So they got their pick and now they need to do something with it. But the issue with that is if you saw uh Kier on the Daka, he capped top point. He saw that the entire enemy team was showing on the map and he went mid to get the Dragon Knight. And so even though Onyx is playing to their win condition well, so is Simplicity. They're playing and using the macro tools they have to still get an advantage. So even though Onyx got their pick, Simplicity got the Dragon Knight and they came out ahead. And even though Chromie was bottom and no one on Simplicity was bottom, I think it was Hosty on the Cassia who was showing, or who was on the bot point. He stayed out of vision as he rotated through mid, so Chromie didn't know if it was safe to stand on that point to stop the Dragon Knight from getting captured. And then next clip I wanted to show was 44. Again, Onyx playing to their win condition. They're grouping with the Varian and getting picks off taunt. Wait, I think it was actually earlier, because how'd they get the Dragon Knight in the first place?
Yeah. So
I
as
had my
they're
I thought I had my timestamps right, but it's a little scuffed, but it's okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Just as these things load, I'm going to go ahead and ask some questions that I have myself. So as we're saying, the picks go, and for these particular comps, like a blow up comp, and you're trying to identify some other win condition when you're faced against macro. Where in this game did you see Onyx adjust their playstyle, or is that where we're getting at next?
Um, Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay, no, it's totally fine.
uh, but if I remember right, they didn't adjust too much. They just kept getting picks and doing stuff with those picks. So yeah, here they're Bad Manning's playing out of vision. They see them get basically Simplicity has to be scared because they're not as five. Their tank May was backing, and so they can't really fight without their main tank. So they just give this Dragon Knight. And even though they got the Dragon Knight, they're still looking for picks here on Kier. And there, Onyx is going to get a lot of value off that DA. So Simplicity was not in position to stop the Dragon Knight because their May had to back. And so even though Onyx got the Dragonite, they didn't push with the Dragonite at first. They're like, what else can we do? Again, they're a pick comp. They want to look for picks, so they looked top because when the enemy team gets the Dragonite, you're not expecting they're gonna 3-4 man rotate up top to gank me, but they did and they got a kill, and because of that they got pretty good value with the Dragonite in mid and bottom, and they got Onyx got the entire top fort with that Dragonite. And fast forward a little more. Again, playing to their win condition, looking to get the pick onto Masquerade. Unfortunately, for Onyx, Legacy was on top of that. He saved his Z for, and you'll notice that a lot. So Legacy's going to be saving his Brightwing Z for anyone that Benny charges and tries to blow up. And then as soon as that happens, Onyx has to run away. Onyx can't win a 5v5 team fight especially if they don't get a pick. So if Onyx fails to get the pick, they immediately have to disengage and wait for their next opportunity to get a pick. And as you can see, like I said, once they don't get that initial pick, they have to run because they lose the team fight.
Mm-hmm.
Next one is actually right here. And I actually said that Onyx had only one win condition, but honestly, having Hogger can be a win condition on itself. If Hogger gets a really good spin in one of these corridors, sometimes that can be enough to turn around a whole team fight. So there'll be a team fight later where Hogger does a whole lot of work in one of these small corridors. And even though I said that Onyx only had one condition, there's technically two because, Hogger can do Hogger things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Sim plays a little passive there because, Hogger doing Hogger things. Next clip is actually right here. So again, they're playing out of vision, and then they look to get a pick, and you'll notice Legacy ends up saving them. So one thing I want to talk about, identifying what your win condition is. It's not just, drafts and how you play. It can be your talents as well. So, okay, so let me go back a little bit. So when you look at Varian, you in Karazim, you want to think, okay, so Varian is one of the tanks you can use for blow up. Another one is Garrosh. So what are things that Varian provides that Garrosh doesn't provide? So Varian provides more upfront damage than Garrosh. And Varian also at level 13 provides more healing reduction for to mitigate the Brightwing Z, or you can go into Shield Breaker at 13, which Garrosh doesn't have. And so Bad Benny ends up going the percent damage at 13. And honestly, I don't like this talent choice because it doesn't play to it doesn't help as much with their win condition of getting picks as, say, as a Shield Breaker does. Because if without Shield Breaker, you now only have, basically without Shield Breaker, you have one less target that you can get a pick on. Without Shield Breaker, you're never going to be able to pick off the Mei, especially with the Brightwing Z, and you'll see that come into play here. So even though they got the taunt, they got the 7-sided, they got the full Chromie combo on the Mei, Mei's able to use her Ice Block and wait and buy time for Legacy to save him with the Z. So you'll see here, taunt 7-sided, pops the Ice Block, and the Brightwing Z comes through. So if Bad Benny instead went Shield Breaker, as soon as Masquerade pops Ice Block, it's instantly broken, and Masquerade's able to be killed before Legacy's able to save him. So basically, I'm kind of just flaming the talent pick, but it's one and it's one of those things where it's not just the draft and how you play it, it can be your talents too that can affect how well or badly you're playing to your win condition. So yeah, they're able to save Masquerade, and basically now Onyx can't do anything because they didn't get their pick. And next one is here in 48 minutes. Here again, it was actually earlier than this, I guess. Oh, well, I guess I didn't write it down. Okay, never mind. It was just Yuki getting picked, and so even though he didn't die, he was pretty chunked. So Simplicity was able to just get the Dragon Knight, and when his team came to try and help him. And it's one of those things where it kind of snowballed from that fight earlier where they didn't get that pick onto Masquerade. Since they didn't get that pick onto Masquerade, Onyx can't really do anything, and so they have to give up a lot. And Yuki got picked, so they had to try and help him. And like I said, Onyx's comp can't team fight, so anytime Simplicity groups up as 5 in team fights, Onyx kind of has to run away and can't do much. So Simplicity gets the Dragon Knight, and they just push with it and get a lot of value.
Would you
And what was that? Sorry.
sorry, I do have a couple of questions coming out now. One of them that wanted to be asked was, would you see or what would you consider which win conditions are map specific, or are certain win conditions that you draft up available
Um,
to all maps?
So I'd say most win conditions are pretty much viable on any map, some more so than others.
Mhm.
Take, for example, like a macro comp. You know, you think when you say a macro comp, you think of, Sky Temple, Cursed Hollow, Garden of Terror, those really big maps.
Okay.
But you can also come out with a macro comp on a 2-lane map like Battlefield of Eternity. You'll see some teams run something like Abathur Samuro, and they're not looking to win a fight over the Immortal, but they're looking to just poke out the enemy team, defend their Immortal while Abba Samuro takes the enemy fort or whatever. And that's still a macro win, even though it's on a 2-lane map and not on a map you would expect to run a macro comp on.
Got it.
So when you're drafting your win condition, basically, I think when I do it, I usually have an idea. Okay, depending on how the bands go, I want to run, you know, these 2 or 3 different comps, and depending on how the draft goes, I'll try and pivot into one of these 3 different comps. And I saw in chat there's a question about the Phoenix. Um, Yeah, I agree that Planet Cracker would be much better than Salvo for Onyx's win condition. Again, you're looking to get a pick off of a taunt, and Planet Cracker can definitely do that. Salvo doesn't really do a whole lot for that, and especially, while you're channeling Salvo, you're not able to auto attack or anything, and Planet Cracker would just provide more upfront damage. Were there any other questions?
Yeah, there's a couple other questions. Think I don't know if you want to jump to finish up your clips first before we go into them. One of them is, do you normally try to set your win condition? This is from the dwarf underscore GG. Do you normally try to set your win condition before picking your comp, or do you set your comp once you've decided on a win condition? How do these two things interact together in your mind?
Let me think of how I want to word this. So your comp determines what your win condition is, what your win conditions are. So when I draft, I'm like, oh, but you can also have an idea of what your win condition, of what you want your win condition to be before you go into draft. So like, say I'm going into a map on Infernal Shrines. So I might have an idea of, oh, I want to draft a comp that just focuses on clearing the shrine. I don't care about winning a team fight. I just want to win every single shrine. So I'll draft a team around that, and that team comp will determine my win condition. But I kind of have an idea of what I want that comp or win condition to be before draft, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I don't know. I haven't really done a whole lot of like coaching, so some of my explanations might be a bit scuffed, but
No, I think
I
that
hope everything
answers the
makes sense.
question. And for other future questions, we're just gonna go ahead and finish up the Epic Players presentation first, and we'll ask most of them towards the end.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to point out is uh, with the Charism 7-sided, one of the reasons that I personally prefer Garrosh with a Charism over a Varian is the throw into 7-sided is much more effective than a taunt 7-sided, especially if you're in the middle of a 5v5 team fight. Because if you look here, they could have gotten the kill on the Hosty if they were able to isolate him, but the rest of his team runs in to help, so the 7-sided doesn't kill. And this is basically just simplicity, pressing their advantage with their better comp and with the Dragon Knight. So next clip should be 40 around here. So remember what I said about Bad Benny does a really good job about playing out of vision, and that's exactly how they're able to get a really good fight here. Bad Benny is not showing at all. And honestly, even though Onyx is playing this well, this is a really bad mistake by Masquerade. You know that Onyx just capped that siege camp, so you should know that they might be hiding in that bush. And so Masquerade should have checked that bush with like a W or a Q instead of just walking into it. But they're able to get a really good taunt on and chunk onto Masquerade. And like I said before, the 7-sided with the variant, it's not as effective as with something like a Garrosh because his team is able to step in and help him and help eat those 7-sided strikes. But again, like I said, even though I keep saying that Onyx only has one win condition, they actually have two. Hogger in a corridor like this, and Hogger basically just destroys their entire team in that corridor. And so that was again, like I said before, even though Simplicity's team comp and their win conditions are better, Onyx is still playing to their win condition really well. They're getting picks, and they're trying to do things with once they get those picks. So they fix their lanes, they start pushing, and they take fort. And that also lets them set up to get the next Dragon Knight because Simplicity is still dead for a bit and the shrines are activating. So they get Dragon Knight. And is it here or is it later? Okay, yeah, it's here. Okay, so I just want to talk about identifying win conditions. So, I'm talking about, what your draft can do, but there's also things that you can do throughout the course of a game that aren't 100% related to your win condition. So, even though Onyx's win condition is we need to get picks and then do something with those picks, which they've just done. If you look there, sorry, hold on. Sorry, sore throat. Have to drink some water. So I just want to just take a look at the state of the map for a little bit. So Onyx is about to hit level 19. Simplicity is about a half a level behind them. and they have Hogger clearing top and the rest of the team playing off the map. So the one thing they can do is so they with Hogger showing top and clearing top, they can't really siege with this Dragon Knight. So what they should be looking to do is they should be trying to see if they can get a pick on someone who might be trying to respond to Hogger top, which we can see no one's doing. And two, they should be trying to get to what they can to get to level 20 first. So the Dragon Knight lasts for a full minute. So Onyx has plenty of time to go around and do other things on the map, like they're getting the mid wave, they're getting top waves, and they're trying to get level 20 right now. So here Hogger starts rotating down, and I think Hogger should have stayed top. The reason being, well, if you look at Onyx's XP, before they were just at level 19. Now they're halfway from level 19 to level 20, and the Dragon Knight still has 45 seconds left. So if Hogger had stayed and cleared top, I think Onyx could have looked to get a level 20 fight right as the DK was about to end, and that could be another potential win condition. So it's not just their win condition of, oh, we need to get picks. It's a win condition of, we're level 20. It doesn't matter if their comp is better at a 5v5 team fight if we have level 20 and they don't. But what they do is they just bring Hogger over and they just look to push with the Dragon Knight. But they're not level 20, and so Simplicity is just like, okay, we're just gonna clear the Dragon Knight for free. And if you look now, Dragon Knight has 20 seconds left, and Onyx is like 1/8 of the way away from level 20. So if they left Hogger top to clear that one wave, and they cleared mid, they could be pushing this bot keep with level 20 and almost full health Dragon Knight with 20 seconds still left on the Dragon Knight. But instead, they tried to push in before level 20 with the Dragon Knight, and they just let the Dragon Knight eat all of its health and damage, and they didn't really get anything with it. So that's not necessarily something that is because of Onyx's team comp. You can also look for win conditions that are outside of what your team comp allows if the opportunity presents itself. So I think that was a missed opportunity where Onyx could have looked to get level 20 and push with level 20 and the Dragon Knight before Simplicity is able to get it. So they can still look for a level 20 team fight now, but they don't really have a whole lot of ability to siege the bottom keep of Simplicity. Although, as I say that, they do have the Chromie, and they took the siege camp, so I would have liked for them to do what they're doing right now, which is sieging the bot camp, or the bot fort, or keep, or whatever. And Simplicity is like, it doesn't really matter. They'll let Onyx siege. I don't think they're too concerned because they realize once they get 20, their team fights better than theirs again. And last one for this one is here at here. So again, they want to look for a single target blow up, and I think this could have gone really well for Onyx. I think if you look, let's go back a little bit longer. So they're looking at either the Brightwing or the Cassia. I think this is just a mistake by Yuki by trying to go for the Brightwing. I think if he goes on Cassia, they can actually get that kill onto Cassia. But here, since Yuki tries to go for the Brightwing and missed, they're split on target. So Yuki went for the Brightwing, everyone else went for the Cassia. And so they're not necessarily able to get that single target blow up they want. And once they don't get that blow up they want, Simplicity is able to turn the team fight around really quickly and end up ending the game. So I think a little bit of that it wasn't necessarily them playing to the Onyx playing to their win condition poorly. I think that was more of just a miscommunication between the members of Onyx. But from here on out, Simplicity just pushes core and ends the game. So even though uh, Simplicity's team comp, in my opinion, was better and their win condition was a lot more flexible than Onyx's, Onyx still played through their win condition really well. It was just a small mistake at the end there that ended up costing them the game. If I think they both went on the Cassia, I think this game easily could have gone the other way, and Onyx could be the ones marching on Simplicity's core right now.
Oh yeah, and it's like exactly like you said. Their win condition was all of them have to be on the same target to blow that target up. As
Yes.
soon as they deviate, that's what happened and it ended up costing them the game.
Yep.
Excellent example. Awesome, awesome.
Yep. So I think I want to go to.
I did have one quick question about that
Mhm.
specific game. So
Yeah.
you're saying that Hogger himself offers a different win condition, offers another win condition.
Yes.
Are there any other heroes similar to Hogger that also offer another win condition?
There's like quite a few. I can't name them all though. A good one. Good ones are like Medivh and Zeratul, VPing, or ley lining the enemy team to take half the team out of a fight. Things like Tyrael getting a sanctification off. Things like that. Some are easier or harder to play around than others. But there's a lot of different examples that I could bring up.
Okay, sounds good.
So I want to go. I guess this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I guess I will only be able to go through 2 examples today.
No, that's totally fine. We
So,
can breeze through this one.
I want to talk about this game. This is the first game between Storm and Granite Gaming. And if you'll look at Granite's team comp, their win condition is a lot similar to Onyx's that we just saw. They want to look for a variant taunt into a Kerrigan combo blow up while the Tychus is burning them. So what's Storm's win condition? Storm's win condition is to counter engage with the Anub or the Deathwing. So Deathwing, and it's not just that. So Storm's comp also scales into the late game much better. So once they get into late game, and the Deathwing will be joining in 5v5 fights, it becomes a lot harder for Kerrigan and Varian to look for those blowups when you have an unstoppable dragon in your way that doesn't care about your CC. So in this comp, Storm's condition is to not get picked, so they want to counter engage with Lauer or disengage. Well, not just counter engage. They can also disengage with the Sukov and Anub. So it kind of depends on how the fight looks. So Storm is either gonna want to cocoon and then turn around and use their CC chain themselves to get a pick, or use something like Stukov Flailing Swipe or the Anub CC to disengage and not allow Granite to get their picks. So first clip is here, roughly. Oh, let me use that. And something I want to bring up before we get into these comps is, again, like I said before, your talent choices also can play a role into how well or poorly you're playing into your win condition. So I am going to very harshly flame Sammy's choice of going bigger they are on Tychus. So what bigger they are does, for those of you who don't know, is so Tychus's trait minigun at level 10 lets Tychus's basic attacks against heroes deal 2.5% of their maximum health for 3 seconds. And bigger they are increases that damage to 4% while enemy heroes are above 30%, but has no effect on targets below 30%. So it provides Tychus with bigger upfront burst, but you need someone else to finish that kill since your minigun won't do damage to targets below 30%. And the reason why this is a problem is, what is Grandit's win condition? They need to get blow up off of the Variant Taunt and Kerrigan combo. And the problem with bigger they are is, bigger they are, so like I said, it only does damage when the enemy is above 30%. But the problem is that Kerrigan's combo and Variant's damage, it's all upfront burst. So when Varian and Kerrigan initiate on a target with their CC, that target is already going to be at 50% or less health, and so bigger they are will not do any damage to the targets to help finish them off. So basically, even though your win condition, how do I phrase this? So even though Granite's win condition is to single target blow up, with that bigger they are pick, a lot of that damage they have from their burst is taken away because Tychus is not doing any damage with this trait. So first clip is, I think it is around here somewhere. So yeah, in this case, it was actually a good pick because for the bigger they are, because Kerrigan was a little slow on the follow up, but BBJ was able to save a noob with the trait and get him out. But there's quite a few other fights where bigger they are actually doesn't do any damage in a team fight, which prevents Granite from getting a few crucial kills here. So if you look here,
Oh, are you
I think I was
are you still
muted.
there?
That's my
Okay,
bad.
yeah.
Sorry, I accidentally muted myself. So if you look here, Tychus just activated his trait, but Anub is already under 50 or at or under 50% health, and with a few more autos, so bigger they are is not really doing any damage. So if Tychus went in the rhythm or even Master Assassin, his trait would be able to do a lot more damage, and they might actually be able to get that kill onto Lauber. And then next one is here at 35. Again, their win condition single target blow up onto a noob. Here, again, like I said, with that bigger they are, all your burst is up front, but Varian and Kerrigan already have a lot of upfront burst, so you need someone, when you go bigger they are, you need someone to finish kills, but with this comp, Granite doesn't really have anyone to finish the kills. And so basically every one of these failed ganks means that they're not able to do what they want with their win condition. So their win condition is get a pick, do something with it. They didn't get the pick, so they can't really do anything, even though they got this objective. Storm is fine just, giving a wall or two and clearing. And next one is 36-45. Again, Variant Taunt into Kerrigan combo, and they just don't have the burst to finish a noob. I really do think that if Ty here went for in the rhythm or even Master Assassin, they would have enough. They would have enough damage to finish the Anub. Granted, Lauber went back in, but he shouldn't have been able to. He basically should have been able to just get out, but he decided to go back in. So even though they didn't get the initial pick since Lauber went back in, they were able to get that kill. instead, and again, this is also Storm not playing to their win condition. Their win condition is to not get picked, really. So, and just survive until late game. So,
A question here.
yes.
If the Tychus did decide to go in the Rhythm or Master Assassin, how would then Storm answer, or I'm sorry, Granite answer the Deathwing?
Master Assassin and In the Rhythm are still fine into Deathwing. You don't need bigger they are to chunk the Deathwing out.
Okay, perfect. Trying to think, maybe that's the only reason why they went
That's
bigger they are.
that was my initial reaction too. Was it's an answer to the Deathwing, but
Mhm.
In the Rhythm it is still really good into Deathwing. I honestly think In the Rhythm might even be better because he can't really Deathwing can't really run away from Tychus, so Tychus just gets free stacks on his In the Rhythm. Let me try and go through this a little faster.
Yeah, if we want to start wrapping it up a little bit by the 5 minute mark, 8:55, so we can answer some questions because we got a few more questions for you as well.
Yeah. Next one. Again, this was a good pick by Granite. They're playing it into their win condition, and now they get basically free clear on Web Weavers. Next one is around here. So here, Storm actually thought they could get a pick, but again, their Storm's win condition is not to look and get picks. Their win condition is to not get picked and to scale into late game. And they don't really want to take a fight like that where the enemy team can flank them and get what they're looking for. And especially with the web weavers coming down, you don't really want to take a 4v4 team fight. You kind of just want to look to clear your waves and do damage control. Next one is somewhere around here. And Skug is doing a good job of doing what Bad Benny was doing and playing out of vision a lot as well. Okay, maybe it wasn't here. Sorry, I wasn't able to prepare very well for this.
No, you're totally fine. We're rolling through this just fine. While we're finding the spot here, there's one question that fits in just fine here. What key data points? This is a question from Buff Bowsette. What key data points are good before going into draft to build a win condition?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, so it is what key data points are good before going into a draft to build a win condition. So what data can you pick out from previous games or practices or scrims? What makes a draft build a good win condition?
So you just it's not okay. So you just want to have a clear idea of what do the heroes on our team do well, and how can we utilize that to end the game. So if you look at Granite's, what does their team comp do well? It gets picks on a single target. And how do you use that to end the game? If you're up a man, you can push structures and buildings and get objectives a lot easier. So you just want to make sure that all your heroes uh, have good synergy and can do the same thing well. So a bad example would be like if you pick let's say you pick a Medivh, and then for your tank you pick like a Mei. So what do you want to do? You want to, with the Medivh, you want to go through the portals as a group and use your CC to blow someone up. So why doesn't Mei work with Medivh? Mei doesn't have hard CC that you can just go through a portal and use on someone. So a better tank for that would be like maybe something like an ETC. You take the portal and then you power slide right after that to stun the enemy and get that kill, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That answers the question.
Here, Granite played to their win condition pretty well. They got the pick onto a noob. That's just a noob being out of position, honestly. But I guess we can wrap up then, because I think the rest of the game is things like that.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think there's only one more. Actually, we can do one more.
Okay. Sounds good.
I only have one more clip for this game. So they get their pick on a noob. They got the CC combo follow up, and if you look again, a noob is at half health. So in the rhythm would be doing a lot more work than bigger they are. You know, if they're able to get that final kill onto a noob, I think this last team fight turns out a lot differently. You know, Kerrigan's not able to get cocooned. You know, Granite got like 4-man stunned by an Anub Q too. So uh, this game was supposed to be a big uh, reason why you shouldn't just look at the heroes, but also your talents.
Mhm.
You know, if Sammy went in the rhythm, I think this game looks a lot differently because they're able to get that finish on a lot of those kills from the Tychus. You know, when you go bigger they are, you can't finish someone. You need someone else to be that finisher. You know, someone like like a Genji or a Tracer or something that can get that finishing kill. And you know, Kerrigan can sometimes be that finisher, but with this comp, Kerrigan was the follow up off the taunt, so Kerrigan can't save her cooldowns for the target to be almost dead and use that to finish them. Kerrigan has to be part of that initial CC combo to get the kills. And
Perfect.
that was all I had for this game then. That went a lot faster than I thought it would. I had clips from 2 more games ready.
Yeah, 50 minutes, you fill it up real quick. But yeah, you had amazing examples, great examples showing us what win condition are. We're gonna go ahead and switch over to my beautiful Cam and ask a couple of final questions here. So we had one question from Dropping Babies. What separates a good win condition from a bad win condition?
Um, Honestly, I don't think there's very many bad win conditions. As long as your entire team is all on the same page and you're all looking to do the same thing, I don't think it's a bad win condition. You know, when I think of bad win conditions, I think of like Storm League drafts where you don't have a win condition at all. You know, like I was um, saying on the game between Onyx and Simplicity, I think Onyx's win condition was a lot worse than Simplicity's win condition, but it doesn't mean it's bad. You know, they were still able to almost win that game playing to their win condition, even though it's a worse win condition than Simplicity's.
Perfect. And that is the final question that we had tonight. It was a pleasure having you on. So before we close everything out, go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you, your socials. Just let us know where Epicplayer is at.
Yeah, so on Twitter, it's at epicplayer_hots. On Twitter, it's just twitch.tv/epicplayer. I don't really stream though. My internet can't handle it. But that's something I'll look to do in the future when I get better internet.
Awesome. And again, once more, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us on today's CCS Masterclass. Really, really awesome talk on win condition. We hope to have you again in the future if you would like. And to
Yeah,
round
thanks for having me.
Absolutely, no problem. And to round things out, we do have an announcement before we get to our next segment. The CCS Teams holds a bunch of events on their Discord. Nexomania is the largest event and offers a relaxed format league for teams to play more Heroes of the Storm. Signups are open right now until the end of the month, and then the season kicks off Tuesday, June 8th. Make sure to use the command !CCS to get a link to the Discord. So be sure to go ahead, use that command, check out the Nexomania, get some teams to sign up. They are also accepting free agents within the tournaments to go ahead and find some teams for yourself as well. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. We will be back in about 5 to 10 minutes with Shredded and Win and Dropping Babies on drafting techniques. So we'll see you then.